In a quiet neighborhood just west of Disney World in Orlando,
George Floyd!
Media and protesters gathered outside the winter townhome owned by former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin and his wife. Chalked concrete explained why.
It's very obvious that this is an institutionalized issue. It's systemic. It's not a conversation of bad apples.
Chauvin is the officer seen around the world pressing his knee against George Floyd's neck after he was cuffed, ignoring his cries for help.
No justice! No peace!
Outside his Florida home, locals holding signs kept it peaceful.
No justice! No peace!
But used the moment to be heard.
No justice! How long? How long they gonna keep doing this, man?
We will put pressure in the most peaceful but just serious way that we can.
Inside, Chauvin's home appeared to be empty, curtains drawn.
Whether he's in here or not, we feel like we need to let our voices be heard.
Neighbors could share few details about the couple who would only visit sporadically and kept to themselves, they said.
The only time we would know if they were there is if the dogs were there barking anytime we come outside.
It ain't going down like that in Florida.
Not here, not anywhere.
That's right.
In all, Chauvin's home in the Sunshine State attracted several dozen people who, despite distance to the Twin Cities,
George Floyd! George Floyd!
felt compelled to share the same message.
George Floyd!
We want justice, we want charges, we want to see some kind of change.
My turn?
If you're a Florida parent, it's safe to say the choice to send your child back to campus this year remains nothing short
Oh, I'm so ahead of you guys.
of nerve-wracking.
We went back and forth a lot. Perfect.
For James Shaw and his wife, the decision boiled down to a deadline and an 8-year-old's desire.
She's had to hang out with mom and dad for like 6 months, and I wanted her to be able to be with her friends again.
For Barbara Mellon, it's life for a single working mom.
I don't have much of a choice.
But still a work in progress, what Florida school districts plan to do if a student or staff member tests positive for the coronavirus.
I don't have the what-if plan.
We surveyed Florida's 67 school districts and asked a series of questions, hearing back from just about half. Of those who responded, all will require the person quarantined for up to 14 days, what the CDC recommends. Less than 10 will mandate at least one negative test before the person can return to campus. And a handful plan to make the entire class get tested. But most school districts who we heard back from said if there's a positive case on campus, they'll seek guidance from their local health department.
And the idea that, oh yes, we'll just call the health department and they'll send someone over. I mean, it's pie in the sky.
Dr. Mona Mungat is a Tampa Bay immunologist and member of the Committee to Protect Medicare, which recently warned Florida's governor that without more safety measures, schools could become COVID-19 super spreaders. She's concerned most school plans rely on families to self-report symptoms, and health departments already strapped for resources and staff.
All of these school reopen plans are based on almost like a fairy tale scenario.
The heart needs to go again.
Leaving parents to play a game of chance.
Do I have concerns? I do. My wife does. We're nervous. There's no question about it. And yet I truly believe that they have our best interests in mind.
It's one of the most visual impacts of COVID-19 on everyday life. Meat shelves bare, everyday products gone.
All of our team members are working around the clock.
And inside Florida warehouse centers like Star Distribution in Plant City,
Never have seen inventory come in and go out so quickly.
in the chain of supply and demand, they are the middleman, providing products to more than 300 retailers around the state. From appliances and pharmaceuticals to food.
When everybody came out and was buying more than they needed, it really took the normal flow and supply chain flow and really washed it.
Larry Jimenez is vice president of business development here.
What has been your biggest surprise?
The biggest surprise is how fast the products are turning and the manufacturers are trying to keep up.
Take, for example, olive oil. Typically, they'll turn half truckloads of this in a day. Now it's full truckloads, and the demand keeps coming. And check out these disinfecting wipes. Typically, this distribution center keeps about 1,000 of these pallets on hand here every day. Now they're down to 25.
Many of them are dealing with challenges that we're basically used to because of hurricanes.
But while Ken Armstrong, president and CEO of Florida's Trucking Association, says the state's history of hurricanes gives its supply chain a leg up in the game of catch-up, COVID-19 still presents unknown challenges for the entire industry.
A month-long hit, and then how big a drag on the economy is it going to be? Is it a year-long hit? There's just so much uncertainty right now.
At Star Distribution, Jimenez tells us employees are taking extra precautions while working around the clock to keep up with the game of supply and demand that doesn't appear to be easing up anytime soon.
I really believe that we've now seen the peak on the supply chain side, and that our customers are going to be able to keep up with the demand.
Industry experts tell me every day the pace of manufacturing products to delivering them is now getting faster, which means you, the consumer, should hopefully start seeing the products you need on store shelves more frequently.
This is our main production floor.
At the Tampa headquarters of Global Widget,
Our gummies are the most popular product.
business is back to being fruitful.
We've come through the entire COVID situation with better strategic focus.
In April, the 4-year-old company, which manufactures CBD-infused products, laid off nearly half its staff due to COVID-19. 68 employees.
It was the first time we've ever done that.
2 weeks later, it was approved for just over $3 million in federal Paycheck Protection Money, or PPP.
We wouldn't have laid them off, but as fast as that happens, you found out like on Thursday at 5 that you were approved and you got funded the next day.
This hemp distributor, among at least 24 Florida companies we found who reported making mass layoffs to the government over COVID-19, but managed to secure federal help due to the pandemic.
You laid off a bunch of people, and then you got a bunch of money.
That's correct, and we hired back those people.
The company's chief compliance officer tells us in addition to rehiring all 68 laid-off employees, they've hired 8 more.
Without that PPP money,
we would not have rehired all those folks for sure.
We brought back most of them.
The Jewish Community Center of Orlando received just under $700,000 in paycheck protection money in April, not enough to bring back all 136 people it laid off in March.
Because we don't have 8 classrooms, I don't have jobs for those teachers.
Revenue is still down, leaving the not-for-profit to lay off about a dozen more of its staff since.
We've had to make adjustments to match the economic reality.
Around the state, car dealers, hotels, and restaurants are among the businesses we found that reported mass layoffs despite securing PPP money. Some restaurants, including this one in Miami, remains closed with plans to reopen soon, according to its website.
We're running the company just like any other company.
Back at Global Widget,
we're just as legitimate as any other dietary supplement company that's out in the marketplace now.
While the FDA has yet to regulate the natural hemp industry, business here is booming.
We employ 176 people in Florida,
with plans to hit 200 by the end of a year that continues to produce so much color.
I'm Katie LeGrone in Tampa. For the first time, daily school logs are revealing just how difficult it is for schools to track the coronavirus on campus.
These school district spreadsheets expose the realities of what schools are dealing with on a daily basis while trying to educate students in the classroom during a pandemic.
It's challenging. We had no idea what to expect.
The reports provided to us by 4 school districts through a public records request are daily logs submitted to Florida's Department of Education detailing confirmed cases of COVID-19 on campus and its impact.
Every day is a challenge.
In Okeechobee County, the district's population is small, just 6,400 across 10 schools. But daily COVID logs to the State Department of Education show small isn't immune to virus challenges. Take the teachers who test, but don't tell until days later when the results are positive.
If there's any kind of miscommunication, then that just kind of could hamper what we're trying to do.
Or the positive student whose doctor, according to school logs, never told his parents to keep him home or even contact the school. That one student forced 30 to be quarantined.
We literally go through each class period. We go through bus rosters. We just try to make sure we're not overdoing it, but we don't want to underdo it either and then lead to more sweeping.
Daily temperature checks, constant monitoring, and seating charts have helped overall numbers stay low in the district.
We don't want to have one person be responsible for sending home 100 students or staff or anything like that. So that's what we're trying to avoid.
which is exactly what happened within the first week of school in St. Lucie County. Football teams at 2 schools impacted.
All of those players were quarantined for 14 days, and many of the coaches as well. There were no additional positive cases from either one of those.
In Pinellas County, 1 student case also impacted the school's football team. 41 students quarantined. In Polk County, a teacher's case forced more than 120 to be quarantined. As school district leaders, their biggest challenge:
just to make sure that we're getting it right.
Less than half of St. Lucie's district student population is back on campus. As of last week, it reported 35 positive student cases, with 480 total students quarantined since day one. That is what they know about. Like any district, if the coronavirus has taught nothing else on campus, it's that trust is everything.
I have to protect, and each one of us have to protect our children and our staff members. And so we have to be very, very honest, very trusting, and very, and tell it like it is.